Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on our live webinar series. We have brought you many past agencies, community agencies, so you can learn a little bit about what they have to offer to our transition community. My name is Jeanette Escalera. I am a student hireability navigator with Workforce Solutions.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ricky Rondon, and I'm also a student hireability navigator. Today, we have the great pleasure of introducing Noelia Perez. She's the transition specialist and deaf and hard of hearing specialist for Region 1 ESC. So she's going to be telling us a little bit more about what Region 1 does and focusing on the transition services and department at Region 1. So thank you, Noelia. We truly appreciate our partnership with you. We recently presented together at the Inclusion Works conference on our partnership and the work that we do to collaborate. We know that you have so much experience in leadership and transition, and you do so much to advocate and create solutions for our region. So thank you so much for all the work you do, and we're so happy to highlight you today.
Thank you very much, Ricky and Jeanette. And it's my pleasure to be here with you guys and talking about Region 1 and the services we do within that transition area. So good morning. My name is Noelia Perez, just like Ricky said, and I am the transition specialist at Region 1 and the deaf and hard of hearing. So I wanted to just give you guys a brief explanation of what Region 1 Education Service Center is. We are located in Edinburgh, Texas, right next to the university off of Junior Street. So we are in the process of making our building bigger. And so what Region 1 is back in 1984, the Texas House passed Bill 72. And it directed the regional education service centers, there's a total of 20 of them, right? To work closer with the Texas Education Agency and with all the school districts. They wanted us to raise the quality of the district programs and enhance uniformity and consistency within the district's operations. So basically, we meet with all the districts, and our goals is to make sure that we do improve those student performances we meet with the school districts, we look at their data, we look at their assessments, behaviors, and we improve all the performance. We meet with the teachers and see what is it that we can do to help the district or the campus at that point. So that way the district goals can go up. We also enable the school districts to operate more efficiently economically, right? We're working with them to see if they need any assistance in those areas, and we implement initiatives assigned by the legislator or the commissioner. We work very closely with the Texas Education Agency. We do have coordinators that also work with us, and they work with TEA, so that way we can notify the districts of any laws that we need to implement in all areas of education. And in a little bit, we'll go ahead and see what areas are we talking about. Region 1, we do have 8 counties that we work with. We work with Webb, Zapata, Jim Hogg, Brooks, Star, Hidalgo, Willacy, and Cameron. And within all those 8 counties, there is a total of 38 school districts, 10 charter schools, and approximately 439 students. So we have a very large staff at our Region 1 Service Center, and we do have 2 remote locations, right? We have our center one there in Edinburgh, and then we have a remote location in Laredo, Texas, and we also have a remote location in Brownsville. And so that way, if any of the East Side counties need more assistance, and some of us from the Edinburgh location cannot go and give trainings or give any technical assistance, then we go ahead and we send the Laredo extension, or we'll send the Brownsville extension. And due to COVID right now, we are doing a lot of remote trainings, and where we're going in and remotely, and we're talking with the administrators and talking with the teachers and seeing where is it that they need assistance to help improve student performance. We also work very closely with the community. We do have adult education programs, right? We offer English as a second language. We also have adult basic education, and we also offer the general education development, which is known as the GED. And we have these sessions that there's classes going on during the day, or they can go on during the night. And so this is really very interesting. And the good thing is that it's free for the community. We also have early childhood intervention. And this is where we work very closely with the transition, right? Because early childhood intervention goes into child find for where they're locating. I don't know if you've seen it within the counties or within the cities. They're outside in the community and they have a sign that says child find. And what it is that they're trying to locate any children from birth to 3-year-olds that have a disability or a developmental delay, and they will work with them to provide them information, give them emotional support, give them services as in OT, PT, speech, whatever, VI, right? Visual impairment, to any of those services for a child that has a disability, and it is also for free. And so the coordinator for that department is Teresa Cantu. And if you know of anybody that has a child from 0 to 3 that has a disability or a developmental delay, feel free to call her so that way services can start for the young child and it transitions into elementary and so forth. So we work very closely with them, with the early childhood department. Also because we have the young children that are deaf and hard of hearing. And a lot of the times they fail their hearing test and for whatever reason, they don't get picked up. And by the time they start elementary, they're having a lot of difficulties wearing their cochlear implants. So working very closely, once again, with the community on that child find in that early childhood intervention section. We also have Project PACE, and this is also through the community. And these are for anybody that has a bachelor's degree and would like to come into education, right? So it's an educator preparation program, and it lasts about a year, right? But you do need a bachelor's degree. And so we go ahead and we do sessions. Those are usually on Saturdays. It's an all-day Saturday. There is a fee for Project PACE, right? But we are preparing future teachers to become teachers. And so we go over the testing requirements, we go over all the TEKS with the teachers, and it is a lengthy process, but we have a great success passing rate. So any information for that would be Ms. Linda Rodriguez. She is the director of Project PACE. And then we also have the SubHub. That is another one that we offer to the community, right? If you have anybody that would like to be interested in being a substitute, right? You do need to have a high school diploma or completed GED, and you can go ahead and apply. And to become a SubHub, you can also take some courses, and your name would get put into the pool of all the districts that need a substitute. And you can go ahead and put that you only want to work in certain districts or wherever. And whenever they do need a substitute, then your name can be called. So that is another opportunity that we provide within the community. These are all the services that we have at Region 1. And I went ahead and I highlighted the departments that we work very closely with. And I say we as in the special education department, right? Because the transition falls in within the special education department. But we have the dyslexia, we have students for visual impairments. We work very closely with PEEMS. And then here's ours, the special education department. So Region 1 has all kinds of services that we work with. And within the areas of the special ed department, that is where I come from, right? We want to focus on improving the students' performance and program effectiveness for students with disabilities ages 3 through 21. Because 0 through 3 go with the ECI, the Early Childhood Intervention Department, right? But from there, they transition, they will call me, and they will call Miss Juanita Lovejoy, and we will work with them so that way we can help with the transition for them to go from the from the early childhood program to the elementary program at a campus, right? Because if they have a disability, they can start school at age 3 with services from the special education department. And we also work with all the school districts in making sure that they are in compliance with all the laws and any services that they need to provide to the school district. And we provide them training. And in a little while, I'll go over those trainings that we go over. We also provide technical assistance for teachers. If I have a student coming in from another country and they need help with the transition paperwork, or they're already 21 or they're 22 and they don't know where it is that the child will be going to, I work very closely with the teachers to help the individual that has a disability transition into adult life, right? We also provide technical assistance to principals along with the trainings, paraprofessionals, and parents. So that is what we do within the special ed department. And our goal is to make sure that the students with disabilities are not left behind, that they are treated the same, just like everybody else, with any accommodations that are needed to be successful, or any modifications that helps them be successful outside of the school system, but most importantly, also inside school. But the goal of transition is to help that individual with a disability transition once they finish school, transition into, let's say, employment. So we need to make sure that we're training them with those employment skills, that they have those soft skills. If they're going to go into education, making sure that they are college ready, right? Have they taken all of the state assessments? Have they taken their college entrance exams? Do they have those study skills? Do they have those note skills, right? So that way, do they have those self-advocacy skills? Because they do have to self-advocate for themselves once they get out of high school. Because in high school, they have a special education teacher that works with them, that goes and talks to the teachers for them a lot of the times, and the student doesn't apply those self-advocacy skills. So now we are doing our best in training those teachers to have those, to give a goal for the student to have those self-advocacy skills. We have a total of 12 people that work in our department, right? We have Miss Diana Sainz, this is on this left side, and she is with the inclusion program, right? And then we have Dr. Terry McGinnis. She's a specialist in the autism area. So if you want anything to do with autism, feel free to call her. She does a lot of trainings for parents. She does a lot of trainings for teachers, and she does technical assistance. She goes into the classrooms and helps the teachers with students that have autism. And then we have Miss Vanessa Villagran. She is our assistive technology specialist, and she has so much information on assistive technology to help all students be successful using anything, so that way they can be able to communicate verbally, written, using a voice output device. So she is our guru for AT. And then we have Miss Claudia Garcia. She is our behavioral specialist. She goes into the classrooms. She helps teachers. If there is a student that's having behavior issues, she will go in there and she will get some information, sit down with the teacher, and we can create a BIP for the student. That's a behavior intervention plan. Then we have Miss Juanita Lovejoy. She's the early childhood child find specialist. She also works very, very closely with our ECI department. And then we have Dr. Jeanette Reyes. She is in charge of RTI within our department. And then we have Miss Rosie Nava. She's with the evaluation. Miss Elizabeth Alvarez, she is parental involvement. She works very closely with all the parents. And then you have Miss Gracie Avalos. Miss Gracie Avalos and myself work very closely because she is the low incidence specialist. This is the specialist that works more with the teachers that have self-contained classrooms. And these are the students that need a lot of the help with the transition. So Gracie and I do work very closely together. Then we have Miss Twinkle Morgan. Miss Twinkle Morgan is our VI, visual impairment specialist. And she does a lot of training. She goes in with the universities and she works with the VI specialist. And then we have Miss Nora Garza. She's the orientation and mobility specialist. She works very closely with Miss Twinkle. And then we have Martha Bustos, and she is a specialist along with Miss Twinkle with visual impairments. And then you have myself, the transition specialist. So we have Dr. Carol Campos. She is our TEA ESC liaison within the areas of special education. And then we have Dr. Brenda de la Garza. She is our specialist coordinator. And then last but not least, we have Mr. Tart Larson. He is the director of special ed. So any of these individuals, any of us can help with anything. If I am out, anybody can take the place of my transition. If Claudia is out, I can help her with the areas of behavior. And we are here to help you, the community, be successful with your children or with your young adults. So that way we can help them transition into the real world of the students. So within the transition planning for students with disability, we, as we know, or you may not know, right? It helps the student or the young adult transition either into the community or transition into education or transition into employment. And our goal is to help show the schools how to make an easy transition for them, right? And we might have a student that does both community, or maybe does all three. They're going to transition into the community, they're going to transition into post-secondary education, and they're going to transition into the workplace also. So we work with the districts, we work very closely with Workforce Solutions, so that way we can go ahead and make sure that they do become clients and they can go ahead and get hired, and we show them self-advocacy skills so that way they can go to the universities and colleges and they can go ahead and self-disclose their disability. Okay, within that area, like I had said earlier, we do have school districts and the vocational rehab agencies. We do work very closely so that way these students with disabilities, if they need any assistance with the rehab, orientation, mobility, or any of those areas of career exploration or employment, we work very closely with them so that way we can make sure that they do become clients and they become successful within their jobs. So they have some of them get job coaches, some of them participate in summer earn and learn. So that way they have a little bit of experience underneath their belt once they graduate. We have, by federal law, we do have to pass, we do have to work on Senate Bill 748, and there's a total of 10. So I wanted to talk to you guys, how is it that we apply those 10 laws within the school districts so that way we can apply that appropriate transition planning for students, right? And this is from the beginning of elementary, maybe the age of 14, and all the way up to the age of 21. So students can, if they have a disability, they can continue if they're 21 as of September 1st. And if they are, they continue and then the school ends, right? But we need to make sure, and when I say we, as in the school districts, right, we need to make sure that they are involved in that transition to life outside the public school system. So when we're having meetings with the parents, right, we're asking them, what is it that they're doing in the community? Are they attending church? Or do they go to the movies? Do they go to parades? We want to know what is it that they're doing outside in the community, so that way, as we're making a transition plan for them, we are helping them. Get more into the community, right? And finding out what areas is it that they live at, what is it that's going on, so that way, if the child is shy, right, we're trying to get them, giving them those goals so that way they can participate more in the community. And even if it means them going grocery shopping, because with their parents, a lot of the times they don't want to go grocery shopping. And that is one thing that we do want to implement. We also have to make sure that before they're 18, with the parents' permission, we can go ahead and invite outside agencies to the meetings and outside agencies would be like Workforce Solutions, Texas Workforce, I think that's what it's called. We have Tropical Texas. We have the Department of Health and Human Services. So we want to make sure that we do involve the parents, and the parents have a right to invite anybody, right? But we want to invite those agencies. But once the child turns 18, if the parent did not retain their rights, right, then the student at that point has a voice because they are an adult, and they choose who is it that they want to invite to the meeting, right? We by law, we still notify the parents of these meetings, but it is up to the student if they want to invite the parents or anybody else that they would like to invite. So that is number 3. We need to make sure that the teachers are trained on how to write those post-secondary goals for the students. So that way, as we're making them giving them those transition, right, IEPs, we're making sure that it matches with what it is that the child wants to do once they graduate from high school. We also need to make sure that we give them those appropriate functional evaluations, right? Making sure that those evaluations match with what it is that they are wanting to do once they graduate from high school. And then you have number 7, if the student is at least 18 years old, the availability of age-appropriate instructional environments. So we are starting to have a lot of 18 plus programs in the Valley, and I think that is great. But with 18 plus programs, these are students that have already earned all of their state credits. They've already taken all their state exams, and they can graduate. They haven't received their diploma, but they can graduate whenever they want. But for whatever reason, they continue to school, noting that that is an 18 plus program, but they are continuing to work on that IEP within these areas of education, employment, community living, or living outside, independent living, right? And so they're in those 3 areas, and we need to make sure that they are not working or they're not involved with students in the school level. Because if we are preparing them for future to be out in the community does not hang out with 18 high school students, right? With 18-year-olds that are still seniors or with juniors. So that law is letting you know that we need to make sure that we have those age-appropriate instructional environments, making sure that we are placing them outside in the community, going to the library, maybe going to some universities or college, so that way they can go ahead and audit classes. Also, part of our role as in transition, we also want to make sure that we facilitate the referral for those students for those government agencies. So once again, when the student's going to leave the school system, we want to make sure that they have those supports that are going to help them out, right? So we go ahead and we do trainings with the schools, right? So that way we can let them know what are those supports in that community, right? Because every community is different, right? What supports are out there, right? Do they have the church? Do they have, is Tropical Texas nearby, right? And if it's not, and they have, they are on the Medicaid waiver list, how can they get from their home to Tropical Texas? So we're looking at the transportation, right? Or Texas, the Workforce Solutions, right? Who's going to be picking them up? Are they a client of Workforce Solutions? So that way Workforce Solutions can help them get a job or maintain that job, or even provide a job coach, right? And then the very last one is the use and availability of appropriate supplementary aids to develop those decision-making skills. So part of those decision-making skills is their self-advocacy, where they self-disclose. And so we as a school district need to make sure that we are showing these teachers all of those 12 components of self-determination, so that way they do the lesson plans for the students, and the students start learning about self-advocacy, right? Without that self-advocacy, the student is kind of shy. They don't know about their disability. They don't know how their disability works for them. So they don't self-disclose. And if they don't self-disclose, research has proven that they drop out of the university or college, or they don't maintain a job right? Because they need to be confident on their disability and understand how their disability works for them. Some of the trainings that we do here at the Service Center for both teachers and parents is that we do have yearly, we have the Social Security and employment benefit for the parents. A lot of the parents, sometimes they have a belief that if a student is working, their Social Security benefits are taken away. And so we do this training so that way parents and teachers understand that it doesn't get taken away. We also have yearly the supportive decision-making agreement. We have the Texas Parent to Parent Conference. They come down every year. And this is a parent training for all parents that have children with disabilities. Pathways to Adulthood is another one that we do. We do district transition fairs. We do trainings on university and college accommodations, graduation plans, 18 plus school developments. I sit down with the school districts and let's go ahead and develop an 18 plus program. Also, we do have transition monthly meetings, and we do have IEP and post-secondary goal trainings, along with a lot of all other ones. But I did want to show you guys these because these have a lot to do with transition. So is there any questions, Ricky or Jeanette, on Facebook?
I don't see any questions coming in. I have uploaded or provided the links to the website for people to see.
All righty. And if you all have any questions, here is my information. Noelia Perez, the Transition Deaf and Hard of Hearing Specialist at Region 1. My email is noperez@esc1.net, and my phone number is 956-984-6164. And within, Ricky did go ahead and upload the PowerPoint, right, Ricky? I think that's what you had said.
The links, yes. But if anybody reaches out, we can provide them more information.
All righty. And these are the live links for any of these areas of transition if you are interested in viewing any of those.
Thank you so much, Noelia. We really appreciate all this information and all the important work you do and your department and Region 1. We recognize that to make an impact, right? We collaborate together because you provide such important work that prepares individuals for their future transition, right? And that's where workforce can come in, right, and provide the additional resources. So it's a holistic approach that's necessary to make a dynamic impact, right? So we're certainly grateful for all the work we're able to do in partnership.
Yes, and I love you all. You all are perfect. We all work together really well to make sure that transition for our kiddos are there, which is super important. It brings up their self-esteem.
Thank you so much, Noelia, once again.
You're
and
welcome.
Thank you all for those of you who are joining us on Facebook Live. We do hope to see you all in 2 weeks where we will have Valley Association for Independent Living joining us live at 10 a.m. in 2 weeks. Thank you all.
Thank you.